Hi, I'm Lana,
And I'm Sherri.
and this is Real Estate Tips with SNL. Who do we have today, Sherri?
Well, today we have our New Year's edition.
Yes.
And New Year's, new changes, fresh beginnings, things like that. So I brought in my trainer, because I got to get in shape. And so Petey Dandini from Rise in Leominster. Petey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you both for having me on. So my name is Petey Dandini. Grew up in Leominster. Grew up here in Central Mass. I just opened a gym about 7 months ago. It's been an awesome journey, but I'd grown up in Leominster. I'd played sports my whole life. I played football in college. I have had many different jobs, but I've always sort of struggled with my weight. And I've actually lost over 100 pounds 3 different times in my life.
What?
So, I wish I could say it was just once, but
Wow.
I've learned a lot through the journey. So, I lost a bunch of weight in high school, gained it back, lost a lot of weight after college. But what really started the journey that I'm on right now when it comes to fitness was finding Orange Theory, if you're familiar with it.
Not 100%, but
So it's like a group fitness studio, and they're a big franchise all throughout the country, different countries. But that's where I really fell in love with fitness and wanted to be a coach. And ironically, right when I got my certification to become a coach, they're opening one in Leominster. And so I was coaching there for a little bit.
yeah.
Pandemic hit, and I realized I think I might need to make a little bit more money. And that's what inspired me to move out to Boston.
Wow.
Did software sales for a while, but I essentially had made work my entire life, and my health took a back seat. And that's when I started to gain all the weight back that I had lost, and just hit a point where I said I need to put myself back into a healthier environment. And, there's this whole story, but ended up reaching out to an old football coach of mine who owned the space that I was in and said, can I run some boot camps out of your space? And he said, well, I'm actually closing soon, so if you want it, you can have it.
Perfect
And,
timing.
Here we are.
So your location is where?
So it's 28 June Street in Leominster, right around the corner. If anyone's familiar with Paisanos, Avidia Bank, right around that area.
So how did you come up with the name? Rise. Is that what it's called?
It's called Rise, yeah. And so, I was talking to my aunt and some friends about what should I call it, and their suggestion was something that had to do with inspiration, because as a coach, they always told me I was motivating, and I was called the motivational quotes coach when I coached at Orange Theory.
Nice.
And I was playing with the word inspire or inspired, and couldn't really come up with a theme.
Yeah.
And one day I was just driving in my car thinking about this quote, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down, as long as you get back up. And, made me think of my ups and downs in my weight loss journey. And that's where it came from.
Powerful. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
I know that we talked about how everybody has a why. And, we were even discussing how businesses will start with a what. All right. And I'm going to let you take it from there, because these were your words.
Yeah.
And I'm just reflecting on it.
Yeah. So if anyone's familiar with Simon Sinek, he has this book called Start With Why, in a TED Talk around the same topic.
Sure.
And I might butcher the example he gives, but he tries to relate Microsoft with Apple, and how Microsoft, they say we make computers, how we make beautiful computers. How we do that is by making sure they're, engineered very well and they look beautiful. And then it kind of stops there. Whereas with Apple, their why is challenging the status quo. And how they do that is by creating beautifully designed computers that work well and yada, yada. And so their what is they just happen to make computers. You know what I mean? So starting with why you do things. And even I start to forget, my why when it comes to things. But, when I started to get into coaching, especially at Orange Theory, I saw the impact that it could have on so many people's lives. And, I just made that my mission. I want to have, as much of an impact on as many lives as I can, especially when it comes to health and fitness. So,
I think people's why changes, right?
Oh, yeah.
As they get older, or demographics or limitations or whatever. And so when you think about the why in any industry, people have to focus on that, right? Like, why are we doing real estate, right? Why are we having you on here today? What is this doing? But I do like that focus on the why versus the how, where, because really the why is the motivator.
Yeah, exactly. And when things start to get tough, I see it a lot in fitness. We're not always going to be motivated. I'm not sure the many challenges that you deal with in the real estate industry, but when things get tough, it's you really need to lean on that why and remember why you're in it, and that's what's going to help push you through those times when you don't feel motivated or have the energy.
Very inspirational. You could be a motivational speaker. No, I mean it's really powerful what you present, and I think that's important. This is also not a gym where I used to refer to it as my monthly donation because I paid it and then never showed up.
Yep.
I think when we were on vacation, I got a text from him like, "Where are you?" And I'm
Nice.
like, he's going to be on me if I don't show up.
Yep.
And how important it is to have that accountability. And this is also not just a place where you walk in and you're just like, well, what do I do?
Free fall.
You're getting trained, and I think that's understanding the type of facility that you have at Rise. Did I say that right, or can you add to that? Or?
Yeah, and I hear it all the time. People who go to these big box gyms where you're paying maybe $10 a month, and that's honestly their business model. They're kind of banking on you not showing up.
Correct.
Trying to get as many people as you can. But we were even talking about this yesterday. I was on another podcast when I was in sales, and one of the things that I tried to really, think about when I was selling software was like, when I'm having these conversations, I'm trying to find a solution to someone's problem. I'm not just trying to sell you on something you don't need. And the title of the podcast was humanizing the sales process and actually giving a shit. Excuse my French, but that's what it is. When I'm talking to people, like, I actually want to know why you're here and like how I can solve, the problems that you're going through. And in terms of like the environment, I've been a part of many different gyms. I've gone to those big box gyms where you're kind of just going in, there's a ton of people. I've been part of gyms similar to what I do. Actually, this gym that I went to out in Waltham called Flight Performance and Fitness. My coaches there are the owners, and they've been mentoring me through a lot. But that environment and what I do now is actually what helps me stay on track and where I saw the most success, because you're walking in. It's an environment where you have coaches who, are engaging. They actually care about you being there. They're focused on your form, but you're making an investment, and you have to book a time to when you're going to come do your workout. You have a coach who's already made the workout for you, so you don't really have to think about it. I put everybody's workouts on their phone, almost as if I were to print out the workout and give it to you, but it's on your phone. There's videos, instructions, and although there's videos and whatnot, like, I'm there to make sure you're set up and know what you're doing.
When I'm in the wrong form, and he's like, that's not how it goes, Sherri.
Yeah.
You might be thinking it is, but it's not.
Yeah,
you should be feeling it here.
Trying to understand like where should I feel this? Like, what muscles are we targeting and why? And actually trying to relate it back to like what we do on a daily life.
So it's interesting because I was saying to Sherri, like, why are we going to have you on here, right? Yeah. We do real estate podcasts, right? We talk about real estate.
Yeah.
But I think there's some things to think about as far as habits, right? Really good habits that are healthy, that help you in real estate. For me, anyways, I think a healthy habit is always taking care of yourself first. Meaning, make sure that you physically feel great, you're getting sleep, you're eating really well, and then you're having the fun, but the work. So the work is stressful. The work could be a huge workload, but the habit of taking care of yourself is huge because we put that on the back burner. So I think with showcasing what you have to help, so you don't have to now add that as a job, because what you're saying is, come see me. I'm going to take all that off your plate. You don't even have to think about it. Come in. It's fun. It's going to get you into shape. It's going to get you away from that. It's going to give you that time that you need to give yourself. And it's not a job where you have to go in there and figure it out. What am I going to do? Am I doing it right? People can feel really good about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the three biggest things I care about are obviously people working hard, making sure, people are having fun, but obviously, feel safe and comfortable. And, although we're working hard, like I like to have fun too. Shania Twain comes on and immediately I'm dancing around the gym floor.
And he wears a silly hat or,
Nice.
Yeah, I got a Strong and Pretty shirt on. Right
Yeah,
now.
there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
He would have sang our song with us. I know
totally
he would have. Yeah.
I was trying to think of 12 days of fitness. I should probably come up with something.
Yeah. So 12 days
And make
of
them
real
work out to
estate.
it.
Yeah, right. Hey, now we're on to something.
Yeah, that might actually be a fun thing.
Yeah. But to
Right.
your point, and that's how I felt, the biggest thing for me, I think, growing up being the kid who was overweight, and although I didn't necessarily get like bullied or anything like that, I always sometimes felt like I didn't belong. And so being a part of a gym, where I felt like I belonged, the coaches cared that I was there, I was working out around others who, maybe had similar goals, but like we're all kind of working hard together, even if we're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And like you said, like it's hard to really be as effective as you can in your job if you're not filling up your own cup. You can't fill up other people's cup if you're not taking care of yourself. And what really inspires me, and sometimes I forget about it because I'm so focused on like the day-to-day tasks and all the behind the scenes business stuff. But, hearing stories about how just being there and just my energy or whatever it may be just gives people that escape from everything else that they're dealing with. And to hear how I've had an impact on people mentally, I think that's another thing too. I think that, for anyone that maybe struggles with confidence, kind of goes through those cycles that I went through of losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight. A lot of it, you start to, when you fall off track, it can become a habit, right? And when you don't follow through with the things that you say you're going to do, you start to lose that trust in yourself. But when you start to follow through with those things, you build that self-trust, that self-confidence. And so I think a lot of that relates to the gym, people doing things that are uncomfortable outside their comfort zone when they don't think they can do it. And then they do it, builds a lot of confidence.
Well, I think also physical, right? You need to be physical,
Let's
some
get
physical.
There you go.
I think that sometimes people, all day long we're working, we're behind a computer, we're driving, what we're doing. We're not, your mind, to let it go and just get physical, get outside, do something. It becomes really helpful throughout the day. The confidence piece and the motivation is huge because that takes on for the rest of the day for even your job, right? And in it, I don't know, for me, it's always been a part of my life. And people say, well, like, how can you be so successful and still have time to go for your hikes and your workouts and all that? Well, because it's such a part of me. If I don't have that in my world, the rest of it all crumbles around. I don't have.
Well, that's your dopamine. You're out there every day doing her. She's definitely a fitness person. She climbed Mount Everest.
Did you?
God, I'm gonna.
Did you actually?
Base Camp Everest.
Okay, that's
I
still
went
pretty
to
cool.
That's
You
it
just
is cool,
That's
isn't
cool.
it? Yeah.
That's cool.
So no, but the point is, I know a lot of people ask me in the industry, like, how do you have time for that? Because we work 7 days a week. But how do you find it? Well, we do find it because you find the time that you have the energy
make
to
time
take care of
for it.
yourself.
Yeah.
You don't find that little spot like, okay, it's 5:00. I'm exhausted. I worked all day. And I have to go work out. That's not the time you do it. You find the time that works for you, whether it's a 20-minute, whether it's an hour, whether you can grab a longer time. But if you start in small increments, that it will build and build and build. People have asked me over and over and over, will you let me hike with you and blah, blah, blah? Sure. But how do you get the people there, right? But I often use that time to brainstorm, to enhance my, I'm on podcasts or I'm on a webinar while I'm doing it. So it's not that I'm ditching it. I'm not working for 2 hours. I've scheduled it. So guess what? Now I have the time to take and listen and really focus, but I'm still doing the things that really going to make me feel better.
I just want her to take me on a walk that's flat.
I
And
hear
then
you
I'll
there.
brainstorm with her.
Yeah. Well, I've done the same thing.
Yes.
The amount of times that I've gone for just like a 20, 30 minute walk and I've listened to a podcast, and that's my time to either, shut my brain off, if you will, or, listen to something that is going to educate me and I'm going to get better, just like you said. And, it's funny. I talked to a friend of mine who, the example he gave was his mom came to him and said like, oh, I don't know what program I want to do. I want to do this diet. I want to do this workout program. And he was like, how about you go for a walk like every day and just start there, start small. Right. I think it's very easy, especially me. I've felt it and I still feel it. When I had a lot of weight to lose, I'm so focused on that end goal, especially if it's really far away. But coming up with those smaller, simple goals that will get you there, the more process oriented ones. Like if your goal is to lose 30 pounds, that's great. It's a nice desire, but what goals can I put in place that will get me there? Like, showing up to the gym 3 times a week, whether you lose the weight or not, at least you're building a habit.
Yes.
Yeah. So my goal or my why was because I'm taking a trip next year that's going to have a lot of physical activity to it, and I don't want my trip spoiled because I don't have the energy to do this. So I'm like, make my legs stronger. Now, if I were to say my goal is to lose 30 pounds. And I know we talked about this. I feel like as soon as I put that on me, it's failure immediately. But to say I want stronger, legs and more energy, I can deal with that. Now, with that, there should be some weight loss. I'm counting on it.
You're adding more stress now, honey. You're adding stress.
But again, the reasons why. Now, when you go into Petey's gym, it's small group personal training. So there might be. A couple of times I've been in there. I'm the only one. I do like my one-on-one. But other times, there might be 4 or 5 people in there, and it's such a diverse group. You've got younger, older. You've got the guy who can bounce a medicine ball like he's playing basketball. And then which is really cool to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got people who, are maybe at the beginning of their journey and, aren't quite there yet. I like that because, well, for starters, I kept showing up and I'm like, I know that person. I know this person. I know this person. And that it wasn't weird. It was nice. You wasn't uncomfortable. And I was nervous. I was definitely nervous about being the older woman in there that's out of shape.
Or just starting out, right? So the hardest thing is
Yeah.
starting out. And so even in our real estate world, people feel uncomfortable when they're doing something new, right? So we have changes constantly in the field. And if you are trying out something, it's nerve-wracking, right?
Right.
So if you're doing these things that are powerful within your own life and you're feeling confident about yourself, those small little goals, like we said, take a 20-minute walk is huge.
Oh, yeah.
But to be committed to that, I mean, listen, I had to train for Base Camp Everest, right? And it was crappy weather and I had to go out there. But now someone says it's raining, I'm like, who cares? I mean, I'm out there all the time, but you got to get past those things, right? So kudos to you, Sherri, because I know I would love to do a lot more things with you. And we have, which is great, pickleball and things like that. But, things that I know that we could get accomplished, like going for an hour walk and getting all this brainstorm stuff done and stuff like that. But, everybody's at their different stage and what they like and what they feel good about.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give a little shout out to my sister, Stacy.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Stacy.
So, because Stacy started going, was it right when you opened?
Yeah, like right when I started.
And so, I mean, so far, it's amazing.
She's transformed.
Absolutely. She said, I was with her last night, and she said that she was doing the plank thing.
It's a plank.
And you went over and put a weight on her, and she was like, and she looked at me and she goes, don't you just love it? And I was like, not yet. And I just thought that was so funny because, she definitely is at that point. I mean, she loves going and she's seeing results and her why is her grandson, you know? So she's just, she's going to be there. She's going to be a big part of his life. And as soon as he gets faster than her,
Yeah.
she's going to add more weight.
Yep. Oh yeah.
to the exercises.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, stepping outside your comfort zone and accomplishing things that you otherwise maybe in the past thought you couldn't, you know, like holding a plank with a weight on your back. And I think about sometimes people will be holding a plank and they have their phone with the timer in front of them, and I'll just like, you know, jokingly move it so they can't see it. And so they, you know, I'm telling them like, yeah, we're really close, and we end up going a little longer than they thought they would. And it's like, hey, see, you are capable of doing it. And even there was one, you know, I made a joke that everybody on their birthday has to do the amount of calories on the bike for their age. And she, you know, it's kind of a joke with Stacy, but she did it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and she was probably pretty scared to do it. And it was definitely difficult. I could tell by the look on her face.
Yeah.
But she did it, you know, and I think it's so cool. I've done things in my life that I didn't think I could do. I ran the Boston Marathon. I'm still paying for that one. You know, I've done what's
That's
called the
awesome.
75 hard challenge a couple times. And if anyone's not familiar with that, there's a bunch of different tasks that you need to do every single day. And if you don't, you have to start over. But a lot of them are like 2 45-minute workouts. One has to be outside. So like you said, you get in the habit of just doing it because you said you were going to do it, whether it's raining, snowing. And, you know, people have different opinions on that challenge specifically because some of those habits might not be sustainable for your whole life. But for me, it was just following through with those tasks day in, day out and accomplishing the challenge that I didn't think I could. So like now when things get tough, it's like, hey, I've done something challenging before. I can get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Good mindset.
Yeah. Now, I remember you were like the spokesperson sort of for Dunkin' Donuts. Didn't you have a little thing there?
What?
So not technically. So I, you know, in high school, after I'd lost a bunch of weight, you know, I kept getting these comments that I looked like Gronk. And I had the same number as him in football. And so my dad thought it'd be funny. Like at the time, Gronk was, you know, the poster or whatever for Dunkin' and was holding up a sandwich. So my dad made me put my football uniform on and take a picture holding up a sandwich. So it wasn't through Dunkin', but
I'm pretty sure I saw the cardboard cutout, you know.
yeah, well, I somehow got all over social media, but no, that was pretty funny. Yeah. My dad, that's such a big peep.
You seem very inspiring. I'm sure when people come, they're intimidated to come right to the gym just because it's the gym. But you seem to like, you know, get to know your peeps that come in, which is pretty powerful because usually
Don't
just
you
a
just
number.
want to hug him? Like that's just how I feel. Like he's just so approachable and friendly, and there's like this nurturing, and it's so.
Well, he's been through the process,
nice.
right?
Oh, yeah.
He understands the challenges, and he's done it, like you said. You've had to go through it many times, and I think we all
relatable.
do. Right.
Relatable.
I've been there. I'm
huge.
still going through it. Like there's still some weight that I want to lose, but you know, I'll even give you an example. Last night I was leaving the gym after the last class, and you know, in my head I'm like, oh, there's all this work I want to get done. I was driving home, so I'd already left, and I was just thinking about how in my last job I would, you know, tell myself, oh, I'm going to work out in the morning, and then not wake up early, go to work, and then skip the gym after because I kept working. And, you know, I was thinking about all of the different people that still show up to class that are raising their families, they're going through their own stuff, and, you know, they're still showing up. And so I literally turned my car around, went back to the gym and got a workout in. And so, but I'm human. Like I'm not always motivated. Like I don't always do what I did last night, but it's just a reminder that, you know, everybody's going through their own stuff. Like we're all human. You know, although I'm the coach, like, I'm just like you. You know, I'm going through that stuff too. So.
I like the support that you give. It's really a nice motivation because you shouldn't put yourself down if you miss the time, right? Yeah. You don't have to start from zero. Everyone thinks they have to start from zero. I missed a week or whatever. There's no starting from zero. It's just keep starting, keep going. So what a great inspiration you are.
That is probably the biggest thing that I've learned, and I'm still again, going
course.
through that. It's trying to learn to be happy with being consistently imperfect and not occasionally perfect, because I've always been an all in or all out kind of person. Still kind of am. But if I have a cheat meal, or I eat unhealthy, or I miss the gym, whatever, and that would spiral into, oh, well, I'm just not going to go at all. Or I'm just going to go off the rails.
That's typical, though. And I think that's the problem with diets, is that, you're on a diet and you've said, I'm not going to have, any desserts. I'm cutting out all desserts. There'll be no more of that. And then one day you see, I'm just going to take this one little corner of a cookie. You could have given you that, that one corner and been fine. But because you ate it and you feel like you just destroyed your diet, that entire package of cookies is going to be inhaled in about 30 seconds, and then the rest of the week is gone too, because, I cheated, I'm already off of it, and like, it shouldn't be that restricting. Have that corner if you want. Have one cookie. It's okay. Just don't have the whole package, And I'm still dealing with the whole package.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Me too.
Yeah.
Trust me.
If someone were to come to your gym, what do they do? What do they do? Reach out to you? Do they show up? Do you give a
I have
class?
a 1 month,
Yeah, you got to pass. You get a little
pass
coupon. You can get
I
out.
know. Somebody wants to go for 1 month on me. Well, it's actually on him, but
Yeah, so people usually will either reach out over social media or fill out a form, and I'll try and connect with them over the phone to schedule a time for them to come in for their intro session. First workout is always free. But want people to experience what it's like to work out in there, what a typical workout is like.
Okay.
And obviously share a little bit more about the gym, but that's an opportunity to learn about like what their goals are, why they're there, and to make sure it's a good fit. If I'm not a good fit for what you're looking for or what your goals are, then that's what I care most about. But yeah, trying to set up a time, come in, try it out. If you like it, then taking it from there and figuring out what the best option is.
Yeah, and he has classes that start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's got them. What's your latest in the?
Right now, 6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. I really wish I was a morning person. I like to. I have at this point come to accept that I'm more of a night owl.
Yeah.
But I still have to, wake up really early, so I'm still.
That's a
getting used to
popular
that,
class
it
too,
is, yeah.
It's those
They both
5
are.
o'clockers in the morning. I don't know how they do it.
I was doing the 6:30, but then it was dark, and I was like, "All right, we know how good I am at driving."
You don't drive in the dark. Oh my
Yeah, we
gosh.
don't talk about that.
That's
Please don't
another
let her
story.
drive.
That's another story. But I like the 8:30 class. I think you called that the mother class. So I'm in the mother class, and I think that's a nice one. And
Yeah, there's a lot of moms who have maybe just dropped off their kids, or I think 5 a.m. usually the same crew, because they're there for a reason. They have to get to work or something like that, or they just
diehards.
My sister's the 4:30. Is she?
Yeah, usually 4:45.
Yeah, when she gets out of work.
Middle of the afternoon. Yep. But oh my God, I love St. Stephen. And yeah, like you said, I will never forget the first time she walked in. She started to talk about, her journey, and the second she started talking about her grandson, I was
Decker.
like, don't make me cry.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
But that's that's what you need if you're coming in, you're saying, oh, I just want to feel good, or I just want to lose weight, or I want to get toned. It's like, well, what do you mean by that? And like, why? Is it because you're not happy with what you see in the mirror? Is it because you want to feel physically healthy when you're playing with your kids? Like, going a little bit deeper. And, sometimes we already know that. And sometimes it takes, a little bit of digging to figure that out.
Yeah.
But
Lana, have you always been fit? I feel like you've been the athlete, and seriously,
I've always enjoyed fitness. I've taught classes before and whatnot, but triathlons, whatever, all of that stuff. I think it's I have a lot of energy, and I really I always wanted to be like, good at everything, like gymnastics or any calisthenics. Like anytime that we got together, family and stuff, I'm like, let's do a what do you call that? Those obstacle courses. I was just like an obstacle course kid. Like, let's do that. When you had gym class, when you had the rope climbing and you had all that stuff, that was like heaven for me.
Yeah.
But I think, as I look back, I still work out pretty much every day. And when I call the word workout, it could be a workout of anything. It could be a yoga, it could be hiking, it could be weight training. I love weight training. I think it's really cool. But the challenges that I've seen is just physically, what happens when you're getting older, but it doesn't stop you. But I also noticed that you just shift and change for things that you need. You might have to work a little harder on. When people have aches and pains, they think they step away, and it's probably better to work on it.
Yeah.
So that has been a huge opening for me. And there's really no limit. Altitude sickness can come in play and you really can't do anything about it, but there's really no limit of what you can do. And I think I take that to heart with my work as well, where I have goals that are reachable when I didn't think they could be. If physically you can do it, and it might just, so the example you used was the plank. I was using like pull-ups. Like I thought I could never do a pull-up my whole life. And pull-ups are like, push-ups and pull-ups are exciting. It's just exciting that, wow, I can't believe I can actually do that. It's amazing that you can do it. So it actually has brought so much into my world of business to try to rethink and not feel like I'm not doing enough, or I don't do a good job, I'm not focusing enough. It really has helped me on confidence level because I am shy and I am quiet at times. And
I don't think she's shy.
I am. But I am such an advocate. In my part of my working with clients, I always say, you guys looking for recreation areas? Like, let me talk about skiing. Let me talk about snowshoeing. Let me talk about this. I can tell you.
I can tell you where all the restaurants are.
There are two types of people.
And I can tell you about any other place. You want parks, you want stuff. So that has been really helpful to get. I know lifestyle changes have happened in our industry, and people are looking for. Well, the pandemic helped a lot. People started getting outside and doing hiking and just doing other things. So I'm super excited about that. So
I just think there's a lot of people that have home gyms.
I love it.
But they don't use them.
Exactly.
And I know that exercise bike that's in my room, has to be dusted once a week.
I used to get excited when she told me she's on it, and then now I don't hear her very often.
No. Yeah. Well, you'll hear him at his. I'll be on his exercise bike.
Yeah, I'm standing right next to you. So
yeah. He's watching.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's fun. I've changed and shifted to think of more of it as fun now. It's still definitely a challenge, and I actually literally, like this morning, I said, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, Lana. I can't believe you actually finished the workout. Because sometimes you look at like, 5 rounds of burpees. Are you kidding me? Like that's part of the program that I'm in. And I was like, I could cheat. I could just do 5. Like, who cares? And then when you get all 5 sets done, you're like, wow, I am so proud of you, Lana.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So
I even have those thoughts. Like I'm
Are
the
you proud of
coach.
yourself?
I am.
Yes,
There are a lot of
see?
times I have this little internal dialogue where, when something's tough, let's say I'm doing 10 push-ups and I'm really tired and I get to 9, I'm like, I don't really like, just something kicks in and this is just how I am. I'll end up doing an extra one to almost like, I guess in a sense, punish me for having those thoughts, but like,
it's
just kind of how
And
I
then
train
you're proud
myself.
of yourself.
Yeah, and then I'm proud of myself. Like,
Feels
I
good.
just
So
did an
we
extra
all
rep.
need to do the little attaboy, pat on the back, that sort of thing. And maybe that's what's wrong with us. We're so quick to criticize ourselves instead of lift ourselves up and rise. Right?
Hey, see what you did there?
Pretty good. Huh?
Yeah, she's in marketing, by the way.
Good job.
There you go.
This was great.
Well, I mean, here we are. When this airs, beginning of the year, a lot of people are going to be thinking about those New Year's resolutions, but I hope that it becomes a lifestyle and whatever your why is, get started, come to Rise and check it out. I think especially for somebody who's new on their fitness journey, I think it's a great place to, get the tools and motivation and support that you need to get going. And even those that are further along in the journey, like the medicine basketball player guy,
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think a lot of, when we get really motivated, especially at the beginning of the year, we might do it for a little bit, but then we start, life hits us, throws us a curveball, or, we're not feeling motivated, and we start comparing ourselves to others around us, or we might just, have that fear of failure or I'm not good enough. But as a trainer, my goal, my, mission should be to teach people what to do and how to do things. And like, almost like you don't need me anymore. And
Do you
really
want
the
me to
gym,
use my bike at home?
well, you're going to keep using it. So like, the only reason why you come back is for that accountability or for the environment. And I've even had people that, have said, either they live far away or they think that they can do it on their own.
Sure.
Try it or about to try it. And then they convince themselves, they're like, no, I need to keep coming here because it's either the environment just showing up somewhere will get you to stick with it. Because if it's in your home, unless you're really internally motivated or disciplined, like sometimes
Lana?
you need, sometimes you need that place to show up to or that coach to hold you accountable.
Hopefully you can do both.
Yeah,
You're there at the gym 2-3 times a week, and then at home you're still taking what you. We talked about this yesterday. I feel like some of these exercises that we're doing, I can absolutely do from home. But to know when I'm supposed to do what my routine should be. You're teaching me all of that, but why can't I take those off days and do that at home as well? And I have not done it yet.
It'll happen.
But I will.
It will
I
take
will.
time.
I will.
Yeah.
But again, don't crush yourself for that either. Just find what works. So
Yeah. It'll come.
inspiring.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
I
Thanks for
really
having me.
appreciate
This is
that.
awesome.
I know I put you on the spot with a last minute request, but we just kept thinking New Year's, new beginnings and
New habits.
Yeah. So if anyone's looking for Petey and Rise, what is your social media?
So the gym is at Train with Rise on Instagram or Rise Leominster on Facebook. And then if anyone wants to follow my personal account, I share a lot about my journey. So if anybody wants to see some of those videos, it's at Petey Dandini.
Oh, I'm going to that one
You'll
next.
be able to, access both from either.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Yep.
I love it.
All right. Thanks again. And if anyone's looking for Lana or I, you can find us at Coldwell Banker in Leominster. Please like, subscribe, contact us with topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. And we do appreciate you tuning in. And Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.